In 2023, researchers staged a quiet experiment inside of a Turkish high school. There were nearly 1,000 students with the same teachers and the same math class. The only difference came during practice sessions. You see, one group got a ChatGPT style assistant, and the other got nothing but their notes. What they found was that the AI group really crushed it during practice. They scored 48% higher than the students who were working alone. Now, if we stop the study there, the conclusion is a simple one. We should give every kid access to a chatbot. But then later came a closed book exam where there was no AI for anyone, and here the results look different. See, the students who practiced with the chatbot scored 17% lower than the students who never touched it at all. So the same tool that made them look brilliant during practice had quietly made them weaker. But here's the most exciting part of this story. There was actually a third group in that school that used the exact same AI, but they walked out of the exam completely unharmed. No difference in scores with the group who hadn't touched it. They were using the same model to learn about the same math, but the difference is how they used it. And that difference is the subject of this lesson. Toward the end of the last lecture, I mentioned a rule. Struggling is part of learning. And in brief, that idea is why the third group of Turkish math students did so well. Now, how, you might ask? Well, you see, their AI carried just one extra instruction. Never hand over the answer. You can give a hint. You can ask a question back. But make the student try first. The researchers called the version with the added instruction GPT tutor. So the simple answer to how to use AI to learn is just like a GPT tutor. And there's some pretty established research that says if you do this, you're going to see some pretty incredible benefits. Nearly 40 years ago, a psychologist named Benjamin Bloom found that the average student, given a personal tutor, outperformed a staggering 98% of their regular classroom peers. But to Benjamin, that was a tragedy. He called it the 2 sigma problem because although the fix was obvious, it was impossible. No society can afford a tutor for everyone. Well, until maybe now? In 2023, Harvard physicists built an AI tutor with the same guardrails as GPT tutor. Interactions were constrained to be one step at a time, with the full solution never provided without evidence that the student tried first. In a randomized experiment, students using it learned about twice as much as their peers in a live classroom, and in less time. Now, I need to caveat this by saying that was a small study, so it's not totally conclusive. But the point here is the pattern. One technology, 2 endings. Minus 17% loss on the one hand, or double the learning on the other, and simply depending on the role that you ask the AI to play. I emphasize this because out of the box, every chatbot defaults to a solutions manual mode because simply handing you the answers seems most helpful. At least at the surface it does. So if you really want to use AI to learn, you have to push it into the tutor's chair yourself. Here are 3 ways you can do that. The first way, just set the contract in your first message. Tell the AI system, act as my tutor. Don't give me the answers. Give me hints, one step at a time, and make me try a little first. See, that one bit of pretext is going to recreate the guardrails from both of the studies and unlock your ability to learn using AI. The second way to optimize learning using AI is to actually flip who's asking the questions. See, decades of memory research shows that testing yourself beats rereading any day of the week. Retrieval is what wires your knowledge in. So after studying something, you can ask the AI to quiz you, one question at a time. And you can have it grill you on whatever it is you ended up missing. So this is incredible because you basically have an examiner with infinite patience, but also zero judgment. The third and final way to optimize your learning using AI is to actually take on the role of the teacher. Try explaining something in your own words. It's actually one of the fastest ways to expose what you don't actually know. So tell the AI that you'll be explaining a concept to it and ask it to follow up, like it's playing the role of curious student. Ask it to point out gaps. Where your explanation wobbles, that's exactly where you need to study next. The lesson of the Turkish school that I opened with is actually a simple one. Those who watch AI do the work learn worse. Those that have the discipline to use it as a tutor will do better. And with that, we're going to switch over to a special guest who's going to share an expert's perspective on how they use AI to learn. See you there. So, hey, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome Robert Sheffield, the founding partner and managing director of Scale Up, a strategic growth consultancy focused on helping educational organizations scale and sustain evidence-based programs to educate all of us on how you can use AI to enable your learning. Just a little bit about Robert. He previously served as the president of Core Learning and held senior roles at WestEd and the College Board, following earlier experience as a district administrator and a classroom teacher. He also advises educational initiatives on organizational growth and partnership development, including the Gates Foundation supported effort led by RTI International to scale curriculum-aligned professional learning. Robert, thank you so very much for taking the time to connect with me today.
Hey, thank you for this opportunity, Dr. Muhammad. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm the one who's grateful. So Robert, I'm sure everybody in the class is going to be super interested in hearing your perspective on really how to use AI as a learning partner. And so I've got just a couple of questions that I'm hoping to get your perspective on. The first is, can you sort of walk me through how you personally use AI when you're trying to learn something new?
Thank you. And I really appreciate one point that you noted just in that stem there. You talked about the idea of using it as a partner. And I do think it's super important for the person that's approaching AI to understand the relationship and the dynamic that's going to occur from the perspective that we have as we're engaging the tools. So, for example, are we looking to use it as an assistant, as a partner, as some kind of productivity type of agent? Or as a teacher, right? But that kind of engagement matters a lot. So I do think about the use of AI in a partnership type of way. And at least in terms of what I've experienced as a learner and just kind of encapsulating this into one big point, I do believe very strongly that AI can accelerate our learning, but we have to remain responsible for our own thinking as we engage with the technology. So that's super important. And I would say that's the biggest point that I've learned as a learner, and then also as a person that thinks a lot about instructional design and developing adult capacity in a number of different kinds of ways to teach others. It is critical to know that the technology can accelerate learning, but it does require us to remain responsible for our thinking.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. And it actually echoes some of the things that I was telling people in the class about as well. So I'm curious to get kind of one level deeper with you. So like, how do you know when AI is helping you learn versus simply doing the thinking for you? I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I had a recent experience with very practical life kind of thing. I was removing a television from the wall mount, and I was beginning to run into some trouble with some of the brackets and the fact that this bracket is 10 years old. And as I got stuck, I got my phone, I went to my ChatGPT app, and I began to take pictures and ask questions for trying to get help. And as I continued to work on the wall mount, run into trouble, continue to ask ChatGPT, I got a little frustrated. And I said to it, "You're just making all of this up, aren't you?" And it responded by saying, "Yes, it was." So one of the ways that I've kind of learned to kind of check whether or not I'm doing the thinking or not is the degree to which I can actually challenge the AI. So if I've engaged with AI to the point where I've learned enough of what I believe I needed to know to then come to a place of conclusion, at that point I can begin to ask the AI questions in regards to the validity of what it's actually telling me. So there
Mm,
is this kind of process that I go through where I go from kind of unconsciously not knowing much of anything to being able to form a sense of knowing about what I'm experiencing to the place where I can ask for validity or ask for sources or ask it to corroborate evidence or just get frustrated as I got in that particular moment and just say, you're really making this stuff up, aren't you? And to
right,
hear it kind
right,
of say back to me, yes, it was.
right, right. No, that's super interesting because it makes me think. So there's some things in life where it's easy to ask the follow-up questions, to push and to
Yeah.
probe and figure out when it's making things up, as you did in the case of the brackets. But I feel like there's another set of things where that's not as obvious, right? Like
Right.
if
Right.
if you don't know something very well, then you might not even know what questions to
Hmm.
ask to kind of figure out whether it's making
Yeah.
things up. So tell me, like, how do you verify what AI teaches you when you're learning a subject,
Yeah.
something that you don't know, you don't understand well? What's your thoughts there?
Good, great question. And for to answer this question, I kind of put on my history social studies teacher hat, right? And I may take folks back to the time that they may have been in sixth grade, going to the library or the media center for the first time to do a project of some sort. And for some of your students, that may have been around 10 years ago that may have occurred. So it was right about time that social media was coming on board, but there were computers in the library. And there was a person that was telling you, how do you study? How do you research? How do you go through sources? How do you make sense of what the sources are saying? And many of those analog traditional ways of establishing a claim or creating some type of interrogative question or inquiry based question to drive a research process are still critical to how we learn how to use the technology today. So, for example, there are instances where, let's say this, the stakes may be higher than me actually installing a television. It may be a project that I'm
Right,
working on for a client where I actually need to know that the answers are right that are coming out of the AI. So
right.
we start from a place of what is already known within this subject area, right? So I start from a more of a traditional analog place of how do I build my foundation of basic knowledge in the truest kind of way? So what are the
Mm,
seminal articles? Who are the seminal writers? What are the seminal conclusions that we've already reached before AI evolved? And so now, once I can at least kind of have some type of base of knowledge, then I can begin to start engaging the AI. But I've also learned some tricks of how I can use the AI to help me
right.
establish that base use case. And it generally starts with me asking a question for the AI to generally explain a topic to me. And
Mm,
if I find that the explanation is a little bit too challenging, I'll ask it to explain the topic for me at a lower grade level, right? So I'm someone that has advanced
mm.
degrees. I've actually employed people to have PhDs, and I built teams of those kinds of researchers before. But there are times that I may say, hey, I need you to explain this to me like a fourth grader. And so
Mm.
there are times that I will ask for that very simple explanation in order to build my background knowledge to the place where my critical thinking then asks the right kinds of questions based upon what I know and what I'm learning.
I love that. I really love that. Robert, this has been
Yeah,
so educational for me
yeah,
personally. I've learned some tips that I'm going to steal from you as I use AI for my own
yeah.
learning journey. Thank you again so much for taking the time to connect with me.
Glad to be able to join you.